Alright, here another layout update. This one's not going to have any trains running, but we're going to dive into what's going on. So, start off with this building here. I'm going to go into depth a little bit on it in the video. And it still needs some work yet. Some more things added. Eventually, I need to finish. I got to fill this gap here, and I just keep forgetting about it. But walking down here, got some track painted. I'll go in depth on that as well. I ripped out the road here because a little confession to make that I actually was going to go to HO because it's just. I mean, you guys let me know. I mean, is a single track working for you guys? I know a lot of guys like to run multiple trains, but I feel like one track's more realistic. Plus, I can't afford to put a second main line in. There's not enough room necessary. I mean, well, I shouldn't say there is some room, but the track itself costs quite a bit to put a second line in. You guys let me know anything on that one. I mean, the single main line, I think it works. It's, most railroads, unless they're really busy main lines, usually have one track anyway. But anyway, moving past that, what ended up happening was I went to the hobby store looking for HO track because, like I said, I was going to replace it because you guys know I have two layouts going of this and of the HO layout downstairs. And I was going to do something extravaganza. Well, I come to find out that cork right now is extreme rarity because of some forest fires that happened down in South America last year. So because that's well, you know what? I already got most of this down. I'll just stick with it. Nice having the dual layouts anyway. So, but back to what I was saying. Moving over this way, the track, like you can tell, is colored here. And then I got this going on here where I finally painted the foam here. Now, I can't take credit, like I said before, on the HO layout for the idea that's Norm Charbonneau's idea to paint his base black. I know the normal it was always using earth color, but honestly, I think this works better because it hides a lot of deficiencies in your scenery working. So I'm gonna stick with this idea. And yeah, I pretty much copied something what he did, like where he stacked foam brick layers up and then just carved it with a rasp. Eventually down this way, I gotta get some stone block walls from Scenic Expressly's part way. I guess I could make a tunnel here if I wanted to. I'm gonna have to think about that. It just occurred to me. Like, the idea is there's gonna be a track coming here, and it's gonna go around as well. But a tunnel actually would not be a bad idea here, just to give off the impression there's more mountains. Like I said, I'll have to think about that one. But so yeah, back to this. This road was the rip up was part of the changeover, but now I decided I'm going to put it back in. I got this crossing here from Woodland Scenic, so I'll get into more depth about that. Phone would focus properly. Sorry about that. So what I'm thinking is for the roads, I'm probably going to use the same foam core I did before, but I might layer it with styrene, which will then be painted and weathered to look like asphalt or concrete. And then I'm gonna start working on the station at some point. I gotta finish this up first, though, or at least try to. Back there, eventually, like I said, there's gonna be other stuff, but this is primarily the most focus. And then the other side, I'm not planning on working on that for a while yet, so I'm just gonna be working on this area primarily. So we'll dive right into what else is going on with this. Okay, so finally we're getting to the building, the one that I've been holding off doing. And that's the one at the cardstock building. You guys remember some of the previous updates. I had made that. So now I'm actually going to be working on it. I've been working on it today, yesterday. Got a little piece here going. I'll go on the one side, and then I'll have to work on the other wall, but the plan is just, it's a simple industry. I don't know what's going to be yet. This is just the start of it, really. So, a ways to go. We'll get on with it. Maybe I'll do a step-by-step, I don't know. I'll just show you guys the progress as I go. Alright, so this is what I'm going to be using to paint it. It's antique white. As opposed to like stark white, because the idea is the building has been there for a while. It's not new. Then I got this Christmas green for the trim and the windows. A lot of buildings back then, you know, early times seemed like they had a lot of red, white and green paint. So I'm gonna do a little bit of testing with it to see how it looks with the trim added. Make sure that's what I want before I commit to painting the whole building. Since there's a lot of building to paint. And when I go to paint, I want to paint each section before I glue it. Just, though, actually, well, without the window stuff, I might go ahead and glue them and then paint them. It's not going to really matter either way. So we'll make some test batches. We'll see how they turn out. Alright, so you have the wall attached to this. Just one side will be done there, and then we'll see how to work on the other one, but that sample has dried out. Don't look too bad. I think we'll go with it. What I'm going to do though is once the building's done, I'm going to stain it first. Then put the paint on so that I can then, it'll make it easier to weather that way. Alright, that's pretty much dried. I got another section here I'm going to start on. So, get enough walls, hopefully I'll be able to paint at least a little bit of it. So, this is the kind of stock that I use, 1/4 inch. Thick enough to hold it. Pretty strong. See the bracing there for the first turret. Basically, the idea is the turret basically holds a hoist for an elevator, freight elevator. There'll be a second one on the other corner, so. Alright, just testing this building in place right here just to see how that looks so far. Walking around this side, I gotta get these bins out of here to make more room. Set this up. I want to put a back wall in here because I mean, from the front you can't see it. At least not this angle. But you know, the layout being the way it's set up, I'm gonna have to make sure I put a back wall in there at some point. But I'm fine with what I got for now. That I can paint it a while, at least this portion, and I'll build the rest of it later, including the turrets. Just want to get some kind of finish thing on here, and eventually I gotta finish filling up this gap. Keep leaving it go and leaving it go and leaving it go, and really should finish it. But so yeah, I'll throw some paint on here on the windows and trim, and I'll paint the whole building. Okay, so I got the building painted. Got the windows partially put in. I haven't glued them in yet, but hopefully get to that at some point. Another view at this point. Still have to build the turret pieces up here yet, and the back piece. And still got to do the doors here for the loading and unloading. As part of the update, I'm going to show you guys how I color track. And the items you'll need is a roll of paper towels. Can't spray lube. This just happens to be one from Ace Hardware. And then Rust-Oleum Camouflage Brown. And then also you'll want a Bright Boy. Or any kind of track eraser. So we'll get to that here in a minute. Alright. So, start with a paste paper towel. You start with the spray lube. Now, you can do track anyway. This is just the method that I learned, actually. There's a gentleman by the name of Dennis Brennan who makes Brennan's Better Ballast. He has a great book on modeling with toy trains. And this is where I learned it. He said you coat the rail with the lube. Jack also cleans it, by the way. So once that's done, you gotta get on there good. Then you get your spray paint. And then just start coloring track. Just keep it nice and even. You don't need to overdo it. The idea of what you're doing is you're basically cutting the shine down off the rails. Now it's a little harder from the other side because you can't see it as well. What I can do, move this stuff. So this extra junk out of the way. I duck to the other side and I can see it. A little better. There, that's much better. And like I said, you don't have to go overboard. Light coating is good enough to color the track. But what you want to do is as soon as you spray it, as quickly as you can, paper towels, bunch it up, and try to wipe the rails off as fast as you can before the paint sets too quickly. Because even with the spray lube, the paint will set on top of the rails pretty fast. But that's also why you have a Bright Boy handy, because you're not going to get it all off. I think that one's already trashed up. But it does a pretty good job of polishing. So, I figure you got enough of it. Now, one thing I've learned, unfortunately, the top of the coating on the center rail is going to come off anyway. No matter what you do. And that's fine, I don't care. We're running a model railroad with 3 rails anyway. So it's not like it's critical that it has to be really, really realistic. It's just enough that the track is colored. And then if right here, I mean, if you look, you can see to right here. You can see the difference: shiny and then dark. So I'll set back up and I'll do the other curve here. Same method. Now he does some other stuff I'm not going to show, but that's basically the gist of how I color track. I mean, pretty much that's that. But it's pretty much a common thing these days where people use spray paint. Like I said, you just want to get the rails. Nice cover with lube. Now, those of you wondering why I'm skipping the switch, that's because they are a little more delicate when it comes to painting, and I'd rather do that as one separate piece when there's track connected here, because the points have to be carefully protected. Should be able to. Yeah, it's on the curve. Get that without a problem. Nah, still missed a few spots. Like I said, you get back and try and get the paint off as fast as you can before it sets up. Otherwise, you're going to have electrical problems. The trains will find all the the only thing I'll find is that the models that you run, they tend to like to find all the dirty spots. One recommendation I have before you start coloring your rail, though, is to make sure all your electronic wires and accessories, whatever you hook up, is all in place. And just like that, that's done. Okay, so I wasn't originally going to do the switch, but then I thought, why not? Might as well. So, first thing you need is cardstock like this. It's cheap, it's plentiful. You can find it anywhere. So, you want to fold it up as much as possible in a shape like that. So, but the first thing to do, just like I did on the other track pieces, that one thing I almost forgot. One thing you want to do if you're going to keep your switch machines, which I don't know if I want to keep mine or not, I might replace them with manual, is you want to cover them up. Like I said, I may take mine out and replace them with ground throws. Alright, so spray lubricant first. Tape where mark the boundaries at. Like I said, switches tend to be trickier because of all the parts, rails, and so make sure you want to get the points really good. And what you want to do is where you know the switch points are going to make contact. I'll jam the cardstock in there. What that basically does is it allows you to color the rails, the points, but leaves the contacts open so that when you switch the tracks, you're not losing electrical conductivity, which is really important to switch operations. Sometimes you find it miss a spot on occasion. Alright, so it'll be the same thing as you did before. Starting to cough. It's been pretty dry these days. It's that time of year. Alright, so now pull those out. You see how clean they are. So they did exactly what I wanted them to do. So now I can get in here and finish up the switch points. Like I said, Prelude does a pretty good job of cleaning the rails. And protecting them. But having a Bright Boy or any kind of track eraser handy to help clear off the rest is a good thing to really have. I think we call that good. Alright, now that I can work on this grade crossing, I actually am going to redo this whole row system possibly. But I discovered a product yesterday. I was at the hobby store, and it's this grade crossing by Woodland Scenics. It's actually really cool because it's made for either 2-rail or 3-rail. And as far as I looked at it, I was like, it's about time that they throw us O-scalers a little bit more of a bone when it comes to like details like this. As crossings are always easy to find in HO, but not in 3-rail or 2-rail O-scale. And I'm liking the fact that Woodland Scenics is paying a little more attention to us guys. Let me focus a little better on that. See, early for these in the hobby store, there's instructions that come with it, how to shim it up. I'm not going to show you guys how to do it because I don't even know how to do it yet. But I'm going to try to put it together here and then I'll get back on and we'll see how it looks. Alright, now the crossing in. One thing you want to do is you want to test it and make sure it works by rolling a piece of rolling stock through. Just make sure it's not catching, like you can get your flange is right, your gauge. Looks good so far. Alright. So now, originally when I had the road built, I used this kind of stuff. This is just regular project foam core you get at any like craft place, Walmart, wherever. And had it in kind of like that. But what I'm thinking is I still want to use this stuff, but basically as a sub road bed, which then I will layer with styrene, which will then be painted as the final road coat. Or you could even use like compound patching plaster, that kind of thing. So Basically, the road would have to be raised to a point to where the styrene will reach just the top of the tie or the boards here. And then, like I said, use spray pans to color it and weathering powders, that kind of stuff. So I could use this as well and do the same treatment, just glue it down and then paint it, and then so you paint over it and weather it just so it blends in better. We'll see. Or this one either could go. So that's it for the road segment at this point. Alright, so that's everything then for the update. So like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.